Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Kathleen, and today I'm going to be discussing the video productions that you all have with MarketScale. So, this is actually a product offering that we include within our executive and premium campaigns. If you guys are on something like a basic campaign, you always have the option to add this into your campaign. You just need to talk with your account managers. But basically, what we'll do is go through the entire process from the beginning to the end, what's included, um, what the pre-production process looks like, what the actual production itself will look like, and the post-production as well. As I go throughout these items, feel free to throw in any questions to the audience or in the chat. You can also send me some direct questions as well that I'll try to address as I go through, but feel free to interrupt as you need to. So to kick us off, as probably as it will naturally allow itself, we're going to go through the pre-production process. So MarketScale obviously is very focused on creating some phenomenal CGC and media content. Our goal is to make sure that your onsite goes as smoothly as possible. We are the experts. We want to make sure we are there to guide you through the entire process. And quite frankly, if you all just want to show up on the day and make sure you're prepared and dressed well to be on camera, we will make sure that that's all you'll have to do. We'll take care of the rest. As you probably could imagine, the planning for production is probably the most important part of the whole process itself. This is what will make sure our end deliverables are as great as they can be and the day goes as smoothly as it can. So let's talk a little bit about really what's included within your production altogether. So your production is going to come with 2 videographers that will attend for about 8 hours of your day, including an 8-hour lunch. So 9 hours total. This can be broken up however you want. The standard is typically you have 4 hours in the morning, a lunch break, and then 4 hours in the afternoon. So, like I said, you have 2 people. They will bring your standard gear, which includes 2 cameras, any audio equipment that you might need based on some interviews or B-roll we want to capture, as well as lighting equipment to make sure everybody looks as well as sounds great. So they're going to show up. The shoots typically will happen about 3 to 4 weeks in advance. If you guys ever have a shoot that's a little more urgent, definitely let us know. We can make it happen. But to make sure pre-production goes as smoothly as possible, planning about 3 to 4 weeks in advance or more is the most ideal. When you guys are creating the pre-production breakdown, this is going to be a document that you get for the entire shoot. So this is something your account manager will put together. We'll ask for some guidance, such as the individuals' names that you guys would like to have on camera, the actual address of where we'd like to shoot itself, and really any of the end results you want to have. So a great example that's a pretty standard classic is going to maybe a client's headquarters, and we'll capture a company overview, get some testimonials, maybe create something like a culture video that's really focused on HR that helps people hire or works for a referral video. That's kind of a standard templated on-site production whenever we go to a client's headquarters. But this is some of the things that we'll ask for guidance for you to make sure we have as much detail for our videographers on the day of the production itself. And throughout the pre-production process, your account managers will actually create a whole story arch for the deliverable. So you can tell them simply the topic and goals of what you guys want for these videos. We'll do the rest for you from there. It will also include a schedule for the day. It'll give your videographers a full breakdown of the different shots we want to hit. So a question they might actually ask you is there anything restricted we can't film? Obviously, there might be some proprietary products or different things throughout the onsite that we may not want to film, especially if it's in a manufacturing plant. That's some of the guidance we might ask for, or just some information you could provide to your account manager. But basically, they'll create this whole breakdown for you and make sure you guys have a copy ready for the day, as well as your videographers. Part of the pre-production process will also include the account manager as well as our creative producers jumping on a call with your videographers to walk through that entire breakdown and make sure they're as prepared as possible. So then at that point, it's about a week before the production when they do that call, we'll be preparing all the equipment and travel for your production itself. So when we show up, as I mentioned, we're going to be there for about 8 hours. This is the standard process of how we set up the day, but again, this is very flexible. Usually, what we recommend is setting up your interviews to be back to back in the morning. Usually, about 4 to 5 interviews can be conducted throughout the day if you want to do a standard shoot with interviews and B roll. So, what this means is your crew would set up typically around 8, sometimes maybe 7. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour to set up the entire set. So, that'll be the lighting, the audio, and just the backdrop to make sure everything looks nice behind them. So we'll get everything set up, and then your interviews will happen. And each person, if they're pretty experienced to be on camera, probably could get everything done within 30 minutes. But we always set it up to have at least an hour for each person. This is to ensure they can be asked each question. Maybe if there's a question that comes from a response that we want to make sure to add in there, we can go through that process as well. Our videographers are trained to ask each of these questions for you. So you are more than welcome to ask the questions if that makes you the most comfortable, but they are trained to take care of that part of the process if you prefer. So we'll do about 3 to 4 interviews in the morning and break for lunch. At that point, we will put away all the equipment, including the lighting and audio, and then we'll bring out just the cameras in the afternoon to capture B-roll. So we will capture anything and everything you guys want. We will put together a shot list for the videographers to get, again, kind of the basics or the more standard pieces, or if you're shooting something in particular, like a product, we'll make sure to include that in there. But they're also trained to be very adaptable. So if there's maybe something really unique about the office you weren't aware of, maybe it's your client's office or a specific convention center or just a location you guys haven't been to before, they'll adapt. So always make sure to tell them like to capture something that you might see walking through the office or the different locations. Again, I do want to emphasize that's always our suggested setup for the day, but it is not required. If you guys have certain individuals that are only available in the morning and some only available in the afternoon, we will adapt the schedule however works best for you. Our goals basically to maximize the day while providing the best quality. So we just want to make sure we're as efficient as possible. When it comes to the different locations of your shoot, you guys are always welcome to typically do one shoot location in general for the day, but we can do up to 2. Obviously, with the setup and breakdown and then just drive time, we typically ask that you guys are within 5 to 10 miles of your actual initial location for the second location. A very common one is maybe doing something like a trade show shoot where we're there for the first half of the day, we break, and then the crew will move over to maybe an event space down the street. Usually they're set up pretty close for people to walk from one to the other. The crew will do just the same, get set up, and make sure to capture some B-roll for the event. So that's a really good example of a 2-location shoot. If you guys do have something that might be a little further, or frankly, you just really want to capture interviews, B-roll, and everything on both sites, we might suggest adding some additional upgrades to your shoot in general. And that could include an additional day or just a half day where the crew can just make sure to go out there for a little extra time. And while we're on that topic, you guys do have the opportunity to add anything to your shoot that you might need. So we have our standard equipment package, but you might want to include something like drone or a teleprompter, or if we're doing maybe a really big panel recording, we might need some additional mics. Always reach out to your account manager, let them know the details of what we want to capture, and they'll make sure to build your equipment list however is most appropriate. Throughout your production, on the day of the shoot, we actually have a team here that will reach out to your videographers. We capture some behind the scenes photos, make sure the set looks like it's set up well and everything will turn out well in post-production. We also will reach out to you based on the contact information of the video note to ensure you're having a great experience and everything's going well, so that you can provide your feedback in real time and we can make sure to adjust and make any adaptations as necessary. So now your shoot's over. This is really where you guys can wash your hands and just get excited to get some great content. Our team is going to actually do everything from this point afterwards. So once you guys are done with your shoot date, your account manager is going to work with the videographers to get all of that footage uploaded to our servers. Typically, that's done within 24 to 48 hours, and it's frankly just dependent on how much footage we capture and how heavy that file is. So we'll get all of those files uploaded and then put into Studio. And from that point, your account manager will put together a pre-edit for our editing team. And this is going to be the opportunity for you guys to see some of the B-roll that was captured during your onsite. So they'll actually upload that pre-editing footage, including the B-roll, so you guys can take a look and see if there's any particular shots you really like or want to input into some of the edits, or frankly, just have for future use and future reference. So that'll get put right off the bat into your studio instance, and then they'll begin working on the different deliverables. So your first deliverable should always be sent to you guys within the first week of your shoot, if not all 2, 3, or 4 of the deliverables that you'll get. So depending on how many you did, they typically will come to you within a week to 2 weeks of your onsite production. Anything you guys have within post-production, such as revisions or edits, as you guys are probably very aware of, your videos are going to be delivered through Studio, and through the proofing tool, you can give feedback directly to your editor so you can ensure a quick and swift experience and make sure to get the deliverables posted. Greg, I got a question from Terry. So he's asking if you have 7 to 9 interviews for an actual onsite production. We can definitely make sure to capture as many of those as we want. Frankly, it'll depend on the overall goal of your shoot. So if your goal is to really just get interviews because we've done maybe 3 productions and the same location before, so we have tons of B-roll, we can definitely crank out 7 to 9 interviews throughout the day. If we're hoping that we want to get enough B-roll to create 3 to 4 deliverables in addition to 7 to 9 interviews, I would definitely recommend adding at least a half day, if not a full day, to your shoot. So that's something you guys can work with your account manager, our creative producers here on site, and make sure that, again, we maximize your day as much as possible, but make sure we will provide a quality deliverable to you on the back end. For the B-roll, so we will select the best B-roll for you through Studio. As you can imagine, there is a lot of footage that is captured throughout the day, and some of it is wonderful, and some of it might be just some good fillers or maybe some passing glances of your videographer as they're walking through like a manufacturing plant. So they'll actually clean that up for you, that it won't necessarily be every single piece of B-roll that we captured. It'll be the best of the best, so you guys can always use it as reference later on, and there's none that goes to waste. At this point, that's really everything from beginning to end for your onsite. As I mentioned at that last bit, really the last step for anything is going through the proofing tool of Studio, giving some feedback on your videos. But once they're approved, they're ready to post. You can download them directly from Studio. Your account manager will get them onto your Amplify channel. We can get them onto your YouTube channel or just any media channels you guys might have on your website. And we're ready to rock and roll and get started planning the next one. So I'll leave you guys to ask any maybe questions you have. Give it a couple minutes. Otherwise, it was really great speaking to you all, and we will talk to you tomorrow.